All right, just arrived Canadian Tire. So this is next day. I drove the other car to work because the Mustang is still in pieces, and I need to finish today. Today I need to put in the crank pulley, and then I didn't think this through very well. I've never thought that putting on crank pulley can actually damage a lot of things if you don't do it properly. You can damage the thrust bearings, or you can damage the threads in the crank. And after thinking about how much force it took to take out the crank, I realized actually I better get something proper to do this. So I went to buy a proper tool, one Canadian Tire that should have had like all the tools in stock. After looking at all of them, it turns out the one that I needed was stolen, so they actually didn't have stock. Then I came to this location. This is Marine Drive Canadian Tire. If they have it in stock, they also might have it available for rental. So let's see how that goes. OMG, Marine Drive Canadian Tire is awesome. I was able to get this tool rented. Well, I paid for it, but it is a rental, so if I return within 72 hours, it's free. There it is. So this is a tool I need to install the crank pulley bolt. This is the right threads, so I'll thread this in and use this fine thread right there to drive the harmonic balancer onto the drive shaft without damaging the threads. This is so awesome. Alright, back in the garage. So yesterday there was time lapse, ran out. I'm not sure how far did I get there, but here's what it looks like right now. I have torqued the front timing cover. There was a 3-stage torque sequence. Never seen anything like that before. It's even more complicated than the oil pan. So I use this torque wrench, and there's a sequence of bolts to use, and then you torque them to 89 foot-pounds. I think it was like something like one side here, one side there, then somewhere there, then here, and something like that. And then again those 6 bolts to like 170 something not foot-pounds, actually foot-inches. It was 89 foot-inches, then something like 170 pound-inches. So 89 foot-pound-inches, then 170 pound-inches, and then additional 45 degrees. As soon as I finish torquing it to 170, I would put additional 45 degrees, and then tighten the rest of the bolts in a similar 3-stage pattern. But I don't think I did it exactly correctly, because at first I couldn't recognize which bolts are which, so I was not really, it was kind of similar. I was going from side to side, but I don't think I was getting the right bolts. And afterwards I went and checked all the bolts just to make sure that they're torqued. I didn't miss any bolts. There it is. For the valve cover, it's actually a lot more simple procedure. I'll start the time lapse, but basically you just go in a crisscross pattern, something like that, and you just torque them all to 89 pound-inches and nothing else. So I'll torque the valve cover, and then I'll start putting back the intake. Actually, maybe before, yeah, I think I'll put it back. No, before I put it back intake, I'll put on the thermostat housing, and then maybe the alternator. Maybe I'll do the intake last, because it's kind of on top of everything, so it doesn't need to go on right away. Alright, trying to torque it to the correct torque specs didn't go very well, because the bit that is required to torque this, guys, is a dip socket, 10mm dip socket. I don't have a 10mm dip socket in 3/8 drive, so I used a 1/4-inch drive non-torque wrench, but then there's some bolts I can actually double check their torquiness, and from my feel of it, I think I got it pretty close. Who needs a torque wrench when you can just apply and guess torque with your hands? Next, I will put on balancer. I decided to put the balancer before the thermostat housing because thermostat housing is kind of gonna get in the way. Might as well put on the balancer, and that's the difficult part. So that's the guy I'm gonna install. So this guy goes right here. Ooh. Oh, yeah. So, and to get them the rest of the way there, I need to use the tool that I borrowed from Canadian Tire. Okay, I've never used this tool before, but I think it's kind of obvious. Shouldn't be difficult to use. So from my understanding, I need to match the thread. So this guy is matching the thread, not this one, not this one, not this one. And then it goes through here like this. And then I put this. Okay. Yeah, oh, like that. There. And then instead of putting this bolt into the pulley, it's actually not even gonna reach. And if it didn't reach, I mean, like 1 or 2 threads, that's just not enough for it to grab properly and probably damage the threads. So what's gonna do, I'm gonna put in all the threads in there. I'm gonna have full engagement, and then I'm gonna start screwing this one. Wait, no, this one. I'm gonna start turning the big one, so that we'll start pulling the threads out as it pulls the pulley in. Yeah. So let's see here if it will reach. Okay, I think no, I didn't reach. I need to back out this bolt more, or the nut. There. Let's see it now. Okay, now I have the shaft bolt going in. Okay, let's see this. Yeah, shaft bolt can go a little more. Can still go deeper. Okay, now the shaft bolt is bottomed out. Now I need to start turning this big guy. Actually, I didn't think this through. I really need really deep and big socket to be able to turn that big guy in there. Yeah, let me think about this and then we'll get back to it. Using tools is sometimes like a puzzle of combination of other tools and things to make the tools work, because obviously this tool is not really meant for this kind of pulley because it's really difficult to get in there into this hex. I tried to space out that bolt with socket or something like that, but the thing is the threads on that bolt are hitting the socket and it's just doesn't work. It doesn't, and also like even later after I drove the bolt, the pulley halfway through, I tried to use this spacer to make it easier. It doesn't feel very good. It looks like it's engaging maybe like 3 threads or something like that, and I don't want to be pulling the pulley on 3 threads. So right now there's just a spacer that came with the flywheel in there, and yeah, and that's it. And then I think I have 2 threads engagement. Instead of 3 threads, I think I have like maybe 10 threads engaged. Yeah, it probably, I don't know if it'll be visible in the time lapse. Hopefully time lapse recorded it well. But this is what I was using. I was using vice grips to grab the center nut and to drive the pulley. So as I was thinking about giving up pushing a pulley, I've decided to see if I can rotate it a few more threads with the vice grips, and I was able to get it. I think to a point where it bottomed out, and then it felt like turning it was turning the engine over. So yeah, I'm fairly confident that the pulley is in the right place. Then I took out the installment tool and put in a crank pulley bolt and tightened it to about 20 Newton meters, because that's as high as this guy goes. Not 20 Newton meters, I think it was actually 30, almost 30 Newton meters, and about 20 pound-feet of torque. Yeah, so it's 20, it's a very low number. I have another torque wrench, I'll get to it later. For now, I'm just gonna reinstall everything else. I mean, like, it took a lot of effort to get that pulley on there. I don't think it's just gonna fall off by itself. Another cringe-worthy mechanic moment, using the engine as a workbench so I can hammer out this thingy. So this is adjustable nut that's supposed to fit there. So it's a little bit tight. When I was taking it off, I had to use like a pry bar to get it off. In theory, this thing's supposed to be able to slide a little bit back and forth, and that's what I was trying to do. Just gonna try to hammer it out a little bit. I think it may have moved a little bit, but it doesn't need to move much. And once I tighten it, it's gonna move back in. Alright, I'm not doing this properly. I mean, you already knew that. I put in the thermostat housing and then I attached the hoses. I didn't bolt the thermostat housing. I'm pretty sure you should probably bolt it. I thought it'd just be easier to put the hoses on. And when I was putting on the hoses, I was like, I think I forgot something. I forgot this guy. This is the tensioner for serpentine belt. I thought like, maybe I should put on the belt, but then I can't put on the belt if there's no tensioner. Also, I don't know if it has been noticed, but actually I have been washing parts that I've been installing. For example, like this air box. I think it's a good opportunity to wash this guy. Gonna put it there. And then the water. Alright, while the air box is drying, I decided to install the expansion tank. So there are hoses like this, and sometimes you don't know which way is which. But actually on this engine you can always figure out which way is which by looking at the hose. You'll have these white lines and then it will say something like engine on one side, like it says here, engine over here. Oh god, it's impossible to see, but there's a white line that says engine, and over here there's also like it says E and white line. Yeah, so that means that one goes to the engine side. I should probably clean this up. and the other side goes to the whatever other side is. But whatever side says engine, that side is connected to the engine. Alright, I am done. I think everything is connected, everything is back together as far as I can tell, and in the morning or in a few hours, maybe in 5 hours, I will try to fill this up with coolant and oil. The coolant procedure is going to take a while to fill up because there will be air pockets. Actually, maybe that's why I should probably fill it up now. Okay, yeah, actually I'll fill it up with air now. Not air, I'll fill it up with water now, because sometimes there will be air pockets and it takes some while to move out of the way and for the whole system to fill up properly. And then tomorrow I'll fill it up with oil. Not tomorrow, in a few hours. So the coolant that I bought is the concentrated one, so this needs to be diluted. What you dilute it with is not your tap water, because if you dilute it with tap water, it's actually going to make things really bad, because this is some kind of organic acid technology that is really bad when you mix with stuff from your tap water. So you need deionized water, and it's supposed to be mixed about 50-50 or 60-40, something within that range. So how I usually like to fill it up, the capacity is about 11 liters or something like that. So how I like to fill it up is I use the concentrated jug first, then I'll use deionized jug next, and then do deionized again until about half point. Once I reach to about half point, that's when I will dilute the deionized water with the concentrated glycol, and then I will have 50-50 mix in one jug, and I'll have concentrated in the other jug. And at that point I'll try to finish off the concentrated jug and have the 50-50 mix left over in the deionized water boiled jug. The reason for that is because this one is transparent and clear, and that way if you mix something in here you can see that this is pre-mixed. If you buy a concentrated one and you start adding water into here, pre-mixing it, then you might forget is it pre-mixed or concentrated, and things might get messed up. So, and yes, not sure it was visible on the time lapse, but this thing is pretty much full to the rim. Is this your fill level? No, that's overfilled, but that's because I'm fully expecting there to be air pockets in the system until the pump is running and circulates things until the thermostat opens. That's how it's gonna be. Once it starts running, I'm expecting water level to drop, and when it drops, and maybe if it drops before it's too hot, I can top it off some more. If it's already hot, then maybe I can just make it to work that way and top it off after I leave work. Yeah, and then I should also try not to forget oil filter, man. It's gonna be horrible if I forget oil filter, fill it up with oil, and I'm just gonna start shooting oil everywhere when I crank the engine. That would be hilarious. Alright, it's time for me to go to work. Shit, I forgot the oil filter. So this is a new filter. The procedure is that you need to lube up the O-ring in oil. There we go. So I need to get it all oily and stuff in the new oil, and then put it back in. There we go. Right, so I've poured in about 1.5 jugs of oil. So now I'm gonna do a bunch of things. So I'm gonna let this be open so that the air can more easily be sucked in, so I can add more coolant. So first thing I'm gonna do is prime the fuel system. Actually, first thing I need to do is actually plug in the battery. Here it is. Now the car has power. So prime the oil system. It will pressurize the oil system. If I didn't have a good connection on oil lines, it will start spraying oil. I mean, not oil. It'll prime the fuel system. If there's no good connection, it'll start spraying fuel everywhere. So to prime it, you just need to turn the key to the run position. That was it. There's that sound. I don't know if it was visible. This is a return less fuel system, so not sure what good does it do, because whatever air was in there just gets pressurized to 3 bars of pressure. So, but the air is still there. It's not gonna be cycled, as far as I know, to the tank. And yeah, so that's a high pressure fuel line. So there's nothing there. This is not return line. I was mistaken. This is gas tank evap probably, and this is probably evap valve, which I thought was a pressure regulated sensor. Okay, so next I'm gonna prime the oil system. To prime the oil system, I just need to hold the gas to the floor, hold the clutch to the floor, and crank. Once the oil light goes out, well, actually I'm just gonna crank it a few times to turn off the engine to make sure. Okay, that's not how you prime the system. I wanted to release the clutch, but I accidentally released the throttle. So instead of stop the cranking, I let the car start. But there you go. It's running. Now let's check the coolant level. Okay, actually, I think what's gonna help the coolant flow is turning on the climate control. At least so I hear. Yeah, so I guess this system is not gonna suck in more liquid until the thermostat opens maybe, so should probably drive it for a bit. And then also at this point I should check my oil level again. Why? Because the oil filter took in a whole bunch of oil. It's not possible to fill the oil filter with oil without cranking the engine at least a few times. At least that's my understanding. So if the oil level is good, then I'm good to drive to work. This is fantastic. I was actually quite nervous about starting the car. There's a chance that I would have a leak somewhere, like just oil splashing or water just gushing everywhere, or fuel, and that would be bad. But it also could be even worse. If I did drop something into the intake, then the engine would start and bend the valve, and the car would start misfiring and make a whole bunch of rattling noises, and then I'd be screwed. Or if I drop something on the chain and chain broken, just like, I don't know. So this could have been a catastrophic failure, could have been a minor failure, but it's actually no failure at all. Seems like I haven't broke anything in this process of repair, which is kind of unusual. Alright, why am I in the wash bay? Am I here to fill the radiator with tap water? No, I'm not. I'm here to actually just wash off the excess garbage that was left there. that could have gone horribly bad. It's not easy to wash the car one-handed with such a high pressure. But yeah, basically I had a whole bunch of antifreeze spilled over there from before, and I wanted to rinse it off because that antifreeze is sticky and it's gonna get messy. So yeah, so that was the reason. And let's check. Okay. The water level has dropped a bit. All right, nice, nice. Now I can fill it up with water. Yeah, so I'll top off this water and drive to work finally. So I used up about half of the ionized water and it's pretty much full. I'm gonna wait for the more air to get in there. Once more air to get in there, I will start using the concentrated coolant to go in there to keep the ratio 50-50. Once I go through all of this, that's when I will start using the mixed 50-50 mix. Not sure how much will fit in there, but yeah, once, and that way, this is the best way that works for me to keep it organized and get in the ratio close to 50-50 while not pre-mixing it before pouring it in. Well, and this might be the end of this video. Really gotta go to work now.